Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be another Christmas movie for you guys. And this time, the movie I'm viewing is a true classic. And this movie, this is not the first time I watched it this year. I watched it actually last year. I really wanted to see it. I sort of reviewed it last year. You guys can check out my top 10 Christmas movie reviews. It's not very good. It's not a very good video. But I watched it again this year because I wasn't really focused on it last year. I didn't really focus on it enough because I was more excited to watch the other movie I watched, which was It's a Wonderful Life, which I'll also review to you guys. Probably gonna be like one of the last ones I review. But I wanted to watch White Christmas again to see if there's anything, that if I like praised it too much or if I still really liked it. And before I reviewed, of course, because I really want to review it again. And after watching White Christmas, what do I think of this movie? Um, and basically, the movie I'm going to be reviewing is the 1954 American musical romantic comedy classic White Christmas. And as I said, this movie is a movie that I watched the first time last year and I watched again this year. And I'm very happy I did that because White Christmas, in my opinion, is a fantastic Christmas movie. I think that it is a movie that is truly a classic. It's a movie that all of you should definitely watch. It's great for the whole family. It's the perfect movie where if you want to watch a fun Christmas movie, watch this. You'll enjoy it a lot. And it really is a masterpiece, in my opinion. I think it really is a fantastic movie, and I definitely really like it because of that. But let's get to the plot of White Christmas. The plot of White Christmas, kind of complex, kind of not. It's kind of complex, but it's a pretty basic plot, actually. We focused on two World War II soldiers. Captain Bob Wallace, played by Bing Crosby, who is a Broadway entertainer, and then we have the other who wants to be an entertainer, Private Phil Davis. They are basically, in the army and everything, and while they're in the military towards like the end of the war, Phil makes Bob a promise. He's looking for someone to team up with him to, so he can get this duet going. He really wants to get a duet going and everything. But Bob is kind of like, oh, no, 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 I'm going solo. I'm a solo artist. I don't work with other people. But eventually, he actually gets him to work with him because of his wound and everything. And they end up teaming up. And after the war, they end up making it huge. Like, they're in so many nightclubs, radio, then on Broadway. And they finally become very successful producers. And they eventually have this new musical hit called Playing Around. And while they are on the road, Phil's kind of concerned that Bob has not yet met a woman with whom he can settle down with. And after 2 years on Broadway, basically, they meet up with these two girls. They meet up with these two girls pretty much. Um, those two girls are Betty Hangs and Judy Hangs. They are a sister act that they end up meeting up with, basically. And they recruit them to be in their new show, pretty much. They want them to be in a show about it. And, pretty much what ends up happening is they plan on going to Vermont, basically, where they are booked to perform over the holidays. And, they plan on going there, but when they go there, basically, we find out that they end up meeting the general from when they were in the army, General Waverly, and he has invested all of his savings, and he lives in this cabin that he's in is kind of running low on money, so they decide to put a show together to basically get people to come to the cabin again, and he's in danger. It's in danger of falling because of the lack of snow and consequent lack of guests. There aren't a lot of guests there and everything, so they want to put on a show to kind of get people to come back and also get people's joy and hopes high again. And that's basically the plot of White Christmas. That's basically all I'm gonna say about the movie, and basically from there hilarity ensues, and that's the plot of the movie. Now, let me talk about what makes this movie so great. First of all, this is a classic 1950s musical, and it is perfect because of that. And the acting in this movie is all around pretty fantastic. You got Bing Crosby as Bob Wallace, and Bing Crosby is known as one of the greatest voices in music history, and he really is a fantastic voice. He's a crooner and everything, and he really does a fantastic job in this movie. I think he was fantastic here. He was perfectly casted as Bob Wallace, definitely. His character was great. He has some great songs, and that I thought he did a really great job with. I mean, every time he sings, it's just amazing. and every time he was singing, I was so happy he's singing. I'm like, yes, another Bing Crosby song. I was never, upset that he was singing everything. I was actually very excited to hear him sing, and I thought he did a really good job in the movie, definitely. He was paired up with Danny Kaye very, very well. They have some great chemistry together, definitely really good friend chemistry. I thought they both did a very good job. Danny Kaye was a lot of fun to watch as well. He was definitely really good. And let's talk about the two girls. Rosemary Clooney as Betty, I thought was very well casted. Her and Bob sort of have this conflict going on. And you can tell right away these two are going to get together, as well as Phil and Judy. You can tell they're going to get together the second they meet, but still, it's very well done. And all the singing voices also were very, very good. I was very happy that everyone could sing in this movie. No one was dubbed or anything. And I thought they all were really, really good singers, definitely. They were very, very good. Dean Jagger plays the General, Tom Waverly, and he was actually really funny to watch. I thought he did a very good job. The first scene that he's there, he's like, "Why are you all singing?" And I think that's kind of funny because it foreshadows what they're gonna do for him. And I thought that was definitely very funny. I definitely really enjoyed that. And let's talk about the directing component, because that's really the only other person I think I'll talk about is Mary Wickens as Emma. So funny. There's this huge misunderstanding with her that's so funny to watch, and it changes the movie, but she was so funny to watch. Her facial expression to that reaction is priceless. And she did a great job. That's the other thing about this movie, is that it is very, very funny. The funniest scene being when Bob and Phil perform the sister act that Betty and Judy did, but they perform it literally, they dress up as girls, they go in drag, and it really shows how different of a time the 1950s was. You could actually get away with that, where if you did it now, that would be known as completely un-PC. People would probably, be upset with it. People would try to ban it because it's making fun of gay people, but no, that's not what it's doing. It's basically just them parodying, and I think it was very funny to watch, and it was probably the funniest scene in the movie, in my opinion. The directing by Michael Curtis in this movie is absolutely fantastic. He knew what kind of movie he wanted to make. He knew he wanted to make a musical, and I think it works perfectly as a musical. He really did a great job of that. The musical numbers are very, very good. Every single song is fantastic. There's not one song that's like, I don't like this song. No, every single song is very, very good. And I thought the directing was also really good. The screenplay, not too much of a screenplay here. It's a standard musical. It's one of those, like, we're putting on a show kind of movies. There's not usually too much of a screenplay to it. This one does have a screenplay to it. Like, it has a lot in there. It has a lot going on. But it's kind of more of like a situational comedy, where there's this situation, there's another situation. Like, we have a plot, but there's, like, things going on. I'd say the screenplay was really, really good, but that's not what makes the movie. The thing that makes this movie is the music by Irving Berlin, who is just... Let's give some applause to Irving Berlin, because the music that Irving Berlin did, he is known as one of the greatest composers of all time. He always has been known to that. And it really shows here. He made some fantastic music here. Of course, especially White Christmas, the title song. He did a great job with all that, and I thought his music was all across the board very, very good. Cinematography. This movie has some awesome cinematography, especially for 1954. If you watch this movie on Netflix like I did, it looks like it was made today. It really does. It doesn't look old at all, and I think the cinematography is just great. Nothing extraordinary, but, like, it's really, really good cinematography. And this movie is actually being re-released in theaters, so I recommend you guys check it out because of that. The editing is fantastic. The movie is exactly 2 hours. It does not intend to be any longer than that, and I think that is really good. And that's really, all there is. And I guess the only other thing we'll talk about, the choreography. Oh my god. The choreography is so good in this movie. The choreography was fantastic. I thought the choreography was very well done. I thought the way that they portray the choreography was really, really good. One of the things I loved about the choreography was just, it's great choreography. These are amazing dancers. I know Bing Crosby could really dance as good as he could, and it really shows in this movie that he could dance really well, and the choreography was absolutely fantastic. I loved all the choreography, and I definitely really enjoyed that. And White Christmas was actually made into a musical, where they add a couple songs in there. The one song that I really liked they added was God My Love to Keep Me Warm. That's not in this movie, but it's in the musical, and I thought it was a good musical, but nothing really compares to the movie. The movie really is what is great about this. And let's get to a few things that I definitely want to talk about real quickly. A few sort of, like, not really spoilers, but things that if you guys haven't seen the movie, I'll spoil it, and it won't be as special for you guys, so let's talk about some things I really like about the movie. First of all, of course, I love the whole misunderstanding of Emma. Basically, she gets that call. She's listening in to Bob and that one guy who wants to put them on TV, their conversation. She thinks that Bob is serious about it and everything, but he's really not. And I actually really like that plot. I thought that was very well done. Of course, then Betty starts to, not trust Bob, starts to be very distant. She doesn't really trust him. She eventually ends up leaving the show. And Phil and Judy got married, all got engaged because she told them that she would not want to see her sister not engaged and everything. So that ended up backfiring for them, which I thought was interesting. And then when Bob found that out, that was very funny when he found out. But of course, the best part of this movie that we have to talk about is the ending. Holy shit, the ending to this movie, guys, is probably one of the most iconic endings in a Christmas movie. I really think it is. And if you go back to my top 10 Christmas movies, I said that, and I will say it right now. First of all, this movie, as I said, is just a fun movie. It really is the definition of a fun movie. It's not too dramatic. Even scenes where, like, Betty leaves, it's not really that dramatically done. It's portrayed in sort of a funny, lighthearted, witty light, which I definitely like. The movie has this, like, witty tone to it, which I definitely really love the movie does. But of course, the ending to this movie, they end up performing the show for, all the people in the cabin and everything, and the lodge, and the show's about to take place. General enters. He's greeted by his former division. They all sing a rousing chorus of the old man. I thought that was great. And then the Geo is back in the army number. I love. But the best part of this movie is the number White Christmas, because the way that is constructed is amazing. Just the amount of set that went into that movie. By the way, guys, sets to this movie are gorgeous, especially the musical numbers. I love the sets to this movie. One of my favorite parts of this movie by far are the sets. They're gorgeous, gorgeous sets. The costumes are great, and just that's one of the best parts of the movie by far. But of course, they're singing White Christmas. Everyone's happy and everything. But I think this is a fantastic moment. They take off the whole set and they reveal that it's snowing outside. And it's just a very subtly, very happy, very, like, warm moment showing what Christmas really is about. Especially because there wasn't any snow at the lodge before. I think that's amazing that happened. It really captures Christmas very, very well. I love that they end the movie like that. They end the ground, everyone toasts and everything. And I think that is just such a fantastic ending. I love that they end the movie the way they do. And it's something that when I think about this movie, that's the first thing that comes to mind. When I was thinking about what I really love about this movie, the first thing that came to mind was I was like, oh yeah, I love the way this movie ends. And I was remembering how good the movie was. And I love the way they end the movie. It really is fantastic, and that's why this is one of my favorite Christmas movies. Definitely, it definitely is one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's a movie that I definitely recommend you guys watch. And if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. It is a fantastic movie, and it is just very, very well done. It's very lighthearted. It's not too dramatic. It's not going to bore you. It's interesting the entire time. There's enough stuff in there to not bore you. I was, wondering if this movie was going to drag on, but it really didn't. And I think it was just fantastic, and it really is a masterpiece because of that. But that's been my review of White Christmas. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys in my next video. I might watch The Missing Life tonight. I'm not sure. I might watch another movie. We'll see what I end up doing. But I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for my review of either The Missing or for another movie review. Don't know if it's going to be for Christmas or what it's going to be, but we'll see what happens there. I'll see you guys in the next video, though. Okay, bye.